Russia's 3B strategy in Ukraine is succeeding. This is what US military experts are now saying. Ukraine could soon be reduced to a landlocked territory. And what's concerning is that Biden's America has no answer to this Russian question. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of TFI Media Group. I'm your host Kanika. Let's begin. We are now more than 2 months into Russia-Ukraine war, and still we don't have a clear answer to the question that who is emerging as the winner. For Russia, this itself is a big setback that it could not stage a blitzkrieg to tear through Ukrainian defenses and conquer the country. However, that doesn't mean that Ukraine is in a comfortable position. Ukraine's biggest backer, USA, is increasingly failing to assist its battling ally in Eastern Europe due to Russia's successful 3B strategy. In Russia's 3B strategy, the first B stands for blockade, and the second for bombardment, and third for boots on the ground. US military experts suggest that Russia so far has successfully executed this strategy that has seriously hampered Ukraine's fighting ability in the eastern part of the country. Commander Benjamin Armstrong, a US naval officer, recalls that Russians had applied the same strategy while annexing Crimea back in 2014. First of all, Russia encircled and blocked Ukraine's access to Sevastopol port. Then, Russia bombarded the Ukrainian defense forces and then it landed its boots in Crimea. Armstrong believes that Russia has again demonstrated a similar strategy in 2022 war. In February this year, Russia again used Sevastopol port as a launchpad to unleash its deadly missiles and corvettes on Ukraine to bombard its defenses. Then, it created a blockade of Ukraine by closing the Kerch Strait, which connects the smaller Sea of Azov to the Black Sea, and established complete control of the Sea of Azov. And lastly, it landed its boots in Ukraine. You see, as US military experts also believe, Russia excels in executing this 3B strategy to decapacitate its rivals. And now, Russia is applying this strategy to the whole of Ukraine by creating a blockade of the Ukrainian territories by hijacking the port cities of Mariupol, Berdyansk, Mykolaiv, and Odessa. By destabilizing Ukrainian coastlines, Russia has already killed the country's food exports to Asia, Europe, and Americas. It may be noted that Ukraine is dubbed the breadbasket of Europe because of its huge food market. In the year 2019-20, Ukraine was the world's second largest exporter of grain. Last year, Ukraine's agriculture exports surged by 25%. Wheat, barley, corn, other cereals, and vegetable oil are the key Ukrainian exports to the nations like China, Pakistan, and Egypt. In absence of this thriving food trade with the outer world, the Ukrainian economy will soon become weaker and incapable of funding its war machinery against Russia. Secondly, this blockade is a major headache for the Ukrainian military, which has so far relied heavily on military equipment imports through the Black Sea. As Russia inches closer to taking over each of Ukraine's port cities, the West is increasingly finding it difficult to deliver its promised military aid to the country. Eurasian Times reported that military supply or assistance by the sea would have immensely helped Ukraine fight the Russians in the east far more quickly than trucking them from the border with Poland across the entire length of the country. After Russia's military blockade of Ukraine is materialized in the near future, the Eastern European country will be left at the mercy of Poland to trade with the outer world. Now you may ask, what exactly are America and Ukraine doing to prevent Russia's 3B strategy to come to fruition? Well, frankly speaking, Ukraine still has not devised any strategy to break Russia's 3B trap, and that's what has now unnerved US military experts in epic proportions.